Hello and welcome back to AAA or Ask Autocar Anything, where we literally answer all your queries, anything to do with cars and even bikes, for which we will have a separate segment. So, as the name goes, it can be on what car you want to choose from. If you're confused between one or the other, you have some tire issues, have some maintenance issues, whatever, just throw it to us. And even if we can't answer it, we will find some expert who can do that. But you will get an absolute expert answer. But right now, we're going to start off with some cars that are kind of very hot in the market. The mid-size SUV segment is. And of course, a big decision people want to take is between the Kia Seltos and its sibling, the Creta. And we've got Jagan Rama Mohan, who's asking us exactly this. The question is, can you help me choose between the Kia Seltos automatic petrol and the Creta automatic petrol? Usage is hardly below 10,000 kilometers per year in the city and highway. Please guide me. Nikhil, I'll toss to you. You've been driving this Seltos and Creta mechanically identical. So I think choosing between them really boils down to other points like how the car is.
Yeah, so this is a question we get very, very often. Literally every maybe fifth question is a Creta versus Seltos. So the thing is that the Creta and Seltos are mechanically very similar.
But same engines, same gearboxes.
Yeah, but 2026 saw the introduction of the new Gen Seltos, which moves to a new platform. So in effect, it is currently one generation ahead of the Creta that's currently on sale. The Creta was launched in 2020. Now you've got a 2026.
It did get a big facelift.
Big facelift, but the platform was the same. So now the new platform brings with it better refinement, which you can feel. It is a quieter experience. Safety has gone up. The Seltos is now NCAP 5-star rated car. So really, answers all the critics who thought the Seltos and Creta are not.
And a bit more space at the back.
Much more space. So on these very factors alone, the Seltos comes across as a more superior product, a more future-ready product. But you also have to remember that the new Gen Creta, which will also move to the new Gen platform, comes in early 2027.
That's right. So I think clearly if you buy a Creta now, within about 6 months, it will be a generation old. So I think everyone's waiting for the new Creta. Till then, Seltos also good. So I think obviously Creta is the kind of, let's say, backbone of Hyundai. They sell about 15 to 18,000 of them. So clearly they're going to throw everything into it. And so I'm going to get you in on this, because we've got another kind of sort of a follow-up question. And driving these cars, we've got Gautam Sudhindran, and he's zeroed in on the new Seltos, but it's between the IVT and DCT that he's trying to decide between. Clearly two different gearboxes. Again, we get a lot of questions on this. Good to know that a lot of our readers are quite, I would say, knowledgeable, knowing the differences between gearbox. And he says the heart says DCT, obviously very, let's say, snappy, sporty gearbox, but brain says IVT. Gautam says it will be primarily used for city driving and occasional highway trips, which involve ghat roads. Which transmission should I opt for? Do the new Gen DCTs have issues that were reported earlier?
So Gautam, given your usage, which is going to be primarily in the city, I think the IVT suits your needs the best. The 1.5 naturally aspirated engine is refined and it's easily powerful enough. And the CVT is also very seamless and smooth to drive. In fact, smoother than the DCT, especially in city traffic. So yeah, for your use case, I would say the 1.5 with the IVT is the one to go for. Sure, when you're driving out on the ghat roads, you might miss that little snappy performance of the DCT. But for overall use case, I think you should stick with the IVT. And speaking of the shortcomings, these new age DCT gearbox don't really have as many issues as previously reported, and yeah, they don't overheat as much as long as you're not in excessive heavy traffic.
And right now, one tip also, put your foot firm on the brake, and really, the clutch opens up. So again, there's really no heating up issue over there. And I think, Soham, I think one important point I think I want to put on the IVT is that actually the Creta Seltos IVTs are amongst the best in the business. They're chain driven. Unlike the, let's say the Elevate, which has a belt driven, it's a much noisier system. So it's probably the best CVT. They call it IVT, but it's a continuously variable
it's
transmission.
Almost torque converter like in its behavior.
It's really one of the best CVTs in the business, so go for that. And I drove the Seltos recently and found the DCT quite snappy, especially at a standstill. I was backing up a slope and just tapped it, and it just suddenly engaged and burst backwards. So very hard to modulate at these low speeds, or difficult to modulate the low speeds again, which makes the case stronger for the IVT over here. So I think overall, IVT 1.5 pretty much a default setting for most people who want a car as a regular commuter with the occasional out-of-town drive.
And what Kia has done very nicely this time around is that they widened the trim levels for the IVT. Earlier, the last gen, it was just a mid-spec model. So you bought it for price rather than how good it is. But this time around, you have the option to go with the top spec variant in the IVT, and that's a really solid package, provided the majority of your driving is in town.
And also, what seals the deal is that the IVT will be more affordable to buy than the DCT, and it will be more efficient as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So, well, I hope that answers your question. Let's move on to another query, which is it's again from Mahavir. We are switching to a segment higher, and the question is there any better car than the Innova Crysta and Innova Hycross? Which one is better between the two, considering my usage is 2,500 to 3,000 kilometers per month for city and highway driving? So obviously Crysta, which is the diesel one, still in demand, but I think we should put over here that it's one engine and only a manual transmission, and really catered towards the fleet segment. So unless you really want diesel and you want that body on frame, Hycross hybrid is a stronger fit.
Yeah, I think the Crysta's strengths are, if you have a lot of rough road usage, then it sort of makes a lot more sense. It feels like a tougher car, built for a beating. But I mean, objectively speaking, on almost every other parameter, the Hycross is like significantly better.
It has a much comfier cabin. It's properly usable in the third row. Not that the Crysta isn't, but the Hycross is just better. And since your running is quite high and it's going to be in the city as well, the hybrid is excellent at efficiency in the city. So you'll benefit from that as well.
That's right. I think the only thing to worry about is a long term what happens to the batteries. But again, being Toyota, I think, that would be taken care of. That's one part you might have to replace early in the long term. I think other thing also, there's this whole perception issue that the Crysta is tougher and, more robust than the Hycross. But I've spoken to a lot of taxi operators who've done really very high mileages, and Hycross, no problem at all.
I think there'll also be a concern, which we've also picked up from a lot of people, is what happens when the Crysta gets discontinued, which is soon, next year.
I think the resale values go up actually.
Yeah, but I think people need to be rest assured that Toyota is not going to stop part supplies. They've got lakhs of them on the road. So, even if you buy one today, you will be taken care of for many years to come, should you want a Innova Crysta over a Hycross.
Great, Nikhil. Let's jump segments again. We're going into the luxury segment, and Pratyush, his query is that Pratyush is planning to purchase a new car with a budget of 50 to 60 lakhs. He really likes the Audi A4, but he's concerned about the ground clearance of 165 mm, which might be slightly low for Indian conditions. He's also checked out the BMW 2 Series Grand Coupe and the Mercedes-Benz A-Class limousine. Could you suggest other cars in this price range that I should consider? I'm mainly looking for good value for money, luxury with strong features and overall ownership value. So clearly he's looking at sedans. I think the A-Class is gone, it's discontinued, so that's out. So really a toss-up between the A4 and the 2 Series Grand Coupe. Now, I think we've driven the A4, and though, you get a number, ground clearance is just a number, it's really how it actually performs. There are a lot of things to ground clearance actually. It's not, the ground clearance is really the lowest point. Very often that lowest point is not the one that hits a speed breaker or anything, because it's just near a suspension arm which moves up and down with the wheel. So that's really not the most vulnerable point. So really it's after driving it, you generally get a sense of whether it's got good clearance or not. A4 generally has decent clearance. They have hiked it up, also rides on slightly higher profile tires. So if you're looking for a sedan, I think A4 makes a good case, but I think there are some good SUVs also for that price. But I think he's seems to be more of a sedan guy, and the only concern is ground clearance.
Yep. In fact, SUV options include the small SUVs from BMW, Mercedes, Audi. So you have the X1, you have the Q3, you have the GLA. They will give you, a bit more peace of mind over bad roads, but you won't have a problem with the A4. We've driven it pretty extensively on Mumbai's not so great roads, and we've not had a problem. And one highlight, in fact, on the A4 is the ride quality. It's
absolutely
really good.
Yeah, the ride quality is absolutely fantastic. I think A4 quite an underrated car, and the fact that Pratish, you like it, we would say go ahead. Just to warn you that it is a little not as fresh as some of the competition. Interiors also, you don't have the latest tech in there, but it drives brilliantly. That 2-liter engine is fantastic. As Nikhil said, the ride is superb. And you're getting some great deals on them right now. Audi is offering some great deals. So overall, this could be the right pick for you.
In fact, speaking about deals also, Pratyush, if you really look around and do your research and your due diligence, you may even get an Audi A6, which is a larger, more premium, more luxurious. And yeah, it has a superb 2-liter engine. So yeah, if you really look for it, you could even get an A6. And yeah, I think that could be even better than an A4.
Yeah, that would be a good point, Soham. I don't know whether you'd get it, at 60 lakhs, maybe a little more. I don't know how much they're knocking off the price of the A6. But again, I mean, A4 compact, really, it just kind of suits self-drive usage very well, especially in the city. So yeah, Pratyush, I think A4 is good, and as Soham said, you want to stretch, getting a good deal, you can haggle hard. Maybe you could even get an A6. So that's a wrap on this episode of AAA, but please do keep sending us your questions. I know you all do. We get thousands of them every month, and of course, we can't answer all of them. Of course, we pick the ones that are most interesting to kind of answer on this episode. So hope you do enjoy this new series we have started, and look forward to catching up with you again next week.